Well, it wouldn't be wrong to say that the startup sector has been the flag bearer of India's growth story. From around 350 in 2014, the number of startups have risen to over 100,000. This also reflects the growing clout of the sector, which is expected to employ millions in the next decade. Our next report tells you about the rise of startups in India's economy. Take a look.
Startups. They are not only the symbol of India's rising class of entrepreneurs, they also signal India's rise as a business and innovation hub. From just 350 odd startups in 2014, they have risen to over 100,000 startups. Over 100 of them are unicorns, that is worth over $1 billion. India now has the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. The ecosystem has created over 1.2 million jobs since the launch of Startup India. Startup India, which was launched in January 2016, has been a game changer for India. The scheme acts as a platform to create a conducive ecosystem for innovation and investments. The rise of the tech-enabled startups in India underlines the direction of the initiative. Recent reports suggest that startups can add $1 trillion to the economy by 2030. They will also generate nearly 50 million jobs while turning thousands into job givers. Here's what India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said about the impact of Startup India.
भारत की स्टार्टअप क्रांति का नेतृत्व आज देश के छोटे शहरों के युवा कर रहे हैं। कुछ लोग सोचते हैं कि हमारे स्टार्टअप सिर्फ टैक्स स्पेस तक ही सीमित है, लेकिन मुझे खुशी है कि आज एग्रीकल्चर, टेक्सटाइल, मेडिसिन, ट्रांसपोर्ट, स्पेस, इवन मैंने देखा योगा में स्टार्टअप शुरू हुए हैं.
Startups which could soon contribute 16% to India's GDP, however, face several challenges. Despite significant improvements, challenges range from infrastructure constraints to bureaucratic delays. With the ecosystem attracting global investments, startups will play a crucial role in India's economic journey. Bureau Report WION, World is One.
Well, and for more on this, we're now being joined by Neeti Sharma, the co-founder and president of Team Lee's EdTech, and she's joining us live from Bengaluru. Thank you so much for taking our time and being here with us today on the broadcast, Ms. Sharma.
Thanks, Rahesha.
I want to first start by asking you that, talk to us about how has the Startup India program helped India startups. We've seen that the startups have grown exponentially in India and it now stands at over 100,000.
Yeah. I think the program which was launched in 2016 has actually played a very significant role in fostering growth and development of startups in the country. It actually has created a very enabling environment for startups to thrive by providing them access to resources, funding, mentorship, and incubation. I think simplifying regulatory processes, introducing reforms that are promoting ease of doing business, enabling startups to work on innovation, and rather than focus on bureaucratic hurdles. I think these are some of the ways that actually the initiative has brought in ease of actually bringing a lot of startups in the country. The other aspect that the initiative has actually supported is access to funding. I mean, most startups struggle to scale purely because they don't have enough capital and access to funding, and that's something I think the initiative has actually promoted quite well. Also given credit guarantee funds for startups, tax exemptions, capital gains. Right, and the other thing that it has pushed is skill development, which basically means handholding and skilling, the founders to be able to scale startups in various areas. And like the report also said, we are not looking at only the tech startups, though that's where it all started in the country. But now we look at startups across fields, across industries, and I think that's a very good sign for us in the country.
Right, Ms. Sharma, you've clearly spoken about how the Startup India program has been a game changer for the startups in India. Talk to us about how that has changed the global perception of India's startup ecosystem, which has changed in the last 10 years.
Oh, yes, I think the global perception about the Indian startup ecosystem has undergone a very significant transformation over the last decade. I mean, just think about 100 unicorns coming in, in the last couple of years' time in a country which never thought about a startup ecosystem. The kind of technological innovation that we are seeing in the country, which is now getting adopted globally, the investor confidence, that we've seen, the millions of dollars that are being sponsored and funded into these startups. I think all of this has completely changed the way the world looks at the Indian startup ecosystem very clearly.
Right. While we speak about the growth of the Indian startups, what are the bottlenecks that the startups continue to face in India, and what are the expectations from the government as well?
I think the biggest, more than a bottleneck, I would say the challenge that startups face and they have to focus on is pivot to sustainability. Because you can't keep burning capital and cash all throughout, especially when it's not your money, it's some investors' money. So I think that's the first thing the startups face as a challenge, but they have to definitely pivot to being sustainable on a continuous basis. And that's clearly charting a new course for the startup ecosystem. And maybe the government should also look at, initiatives on how now we can look at not just starting new organizations, but helping them become sustainable. The other thing is, I think, scale, right? How do I hit scale? I mean, we're talking about 100,000 plus startups, but how many of them can actually become scalable and sustainable on a continuous basis? From the government, I think what I would say the startups ecosystem are expecting is a little bit more support on research and development. Because that's something at a country level also we have never focused as much, and I think if we can get that support, it will be wonderful. The fourth challenge that I would say that the startup ecosystem continue to face is that of skilled talent. So how do we ensure that each one of the organizations that are building up and giving so many new jobs in the country have enough skills and talent that they can actually hit scale, become sustainable, and become innovators for the future?
Right, Ms. Sharma, thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on WION.
Thank you, Rahesh. Thank you.